Hey besties, welcome back to my channel. I hope you're doing well, and if you're new here, hey, I'm Jenny, and today I am going through a whole week of workouts. Finally, yay! I've actually been planning to make this video since the beginning of the year, but I am a true perfectionist, so my inner perfectionist voice has been coming up with all sorts of excuses telling me to wait until I'm feeling super strong in all my lifts before I film the video, or to wait until I've gotten closer to my dream body before I film the video. And I had to tell that voice to be quiet, because if I listened to her, then this video would just never get done. And although I'm not yet where I want to be in terms of my strength and my body, I am well on the way to getting there. And so this is what a realistic week of training to get me to my goals looks like. Just a little disclaimer, I am not a coach or a professional. I'm just a girl who has been going to the gym for 5 years now. I went from having never stepped foot in the gym, being super shy, not confident at all, very weak, to now being a extremely consistent gym goer, and I have never felt stronger and never felt more confident. So this is the workout split that I've been doing since the beginning of the year, so for 3 months now. Technically it's like a 4-day workout split, but I do go to the gym about 5 to 6 times a week, so I have a few active recovery / mobility / cardio days mixed in there. So I thought I'd include that too in this video. This video is a whole week, Monday through Friday. I'm going to take you through each day, what I do, what I don't do, some form cues, and some helpful tips and advice. Just a little reminder, my current goal is body recomposition and being pain-free. I've struggled with a little bit of knee pain and lower back pain on and off for the past couple of years, and so I'm really trying to focus on getting rid of that pain, feeling stronger so that I can get back to running and just being stronger for my future self. Another little side quest goal that I've been working on is trying to get the splits, so you might see a little bit of that sprinkled in throughout the week as well. Let's just get straight into it. This is my full week of workouts. Monday morning can only mean one thing, and that is glutes and hamstrings. The very first thing I do when I get to the gym is I get on the treadmill and I walk for about 5 to 10 minutes. Now, for the past few months, I have been walking backwards on an incline. This has really helped with my knee pain. Walking backwards strengthens the knees and relieves pain by reducing joint pressure and engaging the quads differently than it does walking forwards. And when I tell you, my knee pain has gotten so much better over the past few months just by doing this almost every single day. Just whenever I get into the gym, I'm on the treadmill. Then I get straight into my warm-up. Walking backwards on the treadmill usually gets my body nice and warm. One thing that I've done differently this year is focusing on my warm-up. Instead of just spending a couple of minutes doing a few movements and then calling that a warm-up, I am being so much more intentional with the way I warm up. My warm-up consists of about 10 different movements, and I do about 8 to 10 reps of these movements, and my warm-ups last probably around 5 to 10 minutes, closer to 10 minutes these days, but I'm really prioritizing warming up really well. This has been crucial to help with my pain and getting stronger and more mobile. I've noticed that I'm able to lift a lot heavier and feel a lot stronger without feeling worried that I'm gonna hurt my back or my knees. It is just so important to warm up well and focus on your mobility. If you guys want a full breakdown of everything I do, then I can definitely do that in another video. I've added in a couple of extra exercises this year that I've never done before, and I think that's really contributed to helping with my lower back pain. This is the warm-up that I do specifically for leg days, and it gets the whole body warm and activated, but with a particular focus on my core, opening up my hips, my lower back, my hamstrings, quads, hip flexors, all of that. So important to be warmed up before you do a heavy leg day. And there's my little stopwatch showing that I warmed up for about 8.5 minutes today. And then we begin with our first exercise, which is hip thrusts. Always start with the worst and just get it out of the way. It's the easiest way to do things, trust me. I hate hip thrusts. I avoided them for a long time, but they are back in my program. The contraction that you get from this exercise just cannot be compared to any other exercise. It is an essential when it comes to a glute workout for me. I am doing 4 sets here for about 8 to 10 reps. To set up for a hip thrust, sit on the floor with your upper back against a bench. The bench should be aligned with just below your shoulder blades or just at the bottom of your sports bra. That's usually where it sits for me. And then place the padded barbell across your hips. Position your feet hip width apart and ensure that your shins are vertical at sort of a 90-degree angle when you are at the top of the movement, and then drive through your heels to lift your hips up while squeezing the glutes. Today the weights felt so heavy. After my warm-up set, I went in with 140 for my first working set. Mind you, a couple of weeks ago I was repping out 160 very comfortably for the full rep range, but today 140 I couldn't even get 3 reps out. Now I don't know what the issue is. It might be related to my cycle or might just be one of those days, but it is so important that you learn to be gentle with yourself and understanding of your body. I could easily have gotten really frustrated with myself at this point and ruminated about why I was suddenly not as strong as I was a couple of weeks ago and left and gone home, but instead I just listened to my body. I decreased the weight, I took off those 20s, went down on weight and just focused on getting my sets done. The second exercise that I do straight after the hip thrust is these calves glute bridges. Now they might look very similar to hip thrusts, but they have a shorter range of motion. It's more sort of like a pulsing movement. I usually go down and weight on this and really focus on that squeeze and contraction at the top of the movement. Next exercise in our workout is the hamstring curl. I do this on the seated hamstring curl machine. Set the leg pad down to secure your thighs and slowly curl your heels towards your glutes. Control the weight throughout, especially during the return eccentric motion, and try to avoid lifting your hips or using momentum. The next exercise we have is hip abduction, and for this exercise I actually do a extra little warm-up straight before I get into it, because when I first started doing this exercise I found I would get this really weird hip locking feeling. It was just horrible, and I realized that I just needed to warm up that little bit extra before I got into the exercise. I am working at a rep range of 15 to 25, so quite high. I keep the weight fairly low, and on the last set I do a drop set, which means doing as many reps as you can at that weight and then dropping the weight down by 1 or 2 points and going again for as much as you can. Drop sets are such a good tool for really feeling that burn at the end of an exercise. Now the last exercise of our workout is glute cable kickbacks. So set the cable pulley to the lowest setting and attach an ankle strap to your ankle. Lean forward slightly. I hold the machine for some stability, and with a slight bend in my working knee, kick my leg back and slightly outwards, squeezing my glutes at the peak for about a second. Really try and control the movement with this, guys, and slowly bring your leg back down to maximize muscle tension. Tuesday is our upper body day of the week. For the longest time I always had 2 upper body days in my weekly split, but for the first time I am just training upper body 1 time in a week. But this is a lovely workout that hits all areas of the upper body and gets me feeling nice and strong. As always, you know the drill: some backwards walking on the treadmill to get warmed up, and then I get downstairs and I warm up with a resistance band. This is how I've always warmed up for an upper body day. I spend about 5 minutes really making sure that everything is feeling warm and loose. I also do some dead hangs on the bar to also just get warmed up and get myself feeling ready for my pull-ups. My grip is usually not that great, and I'm usually a little bit sweaty from walking on the treadmill, so I get some chalk on my hands just to really help with gripping onto the bar, and I might do some scap pull-ups as well, also just to warm up. And then my first exercise is pull-ups. I'm doing about 4 sets of as many pull-ups as I can, but I'm very ashamed and upset to admit that my pull-up game is not very strong at the moment. I have regressed quite a lot from just taking breaks from the gym. When I'm in this position, I focus on getting my strength back up by doing various progression exercises. So today I did negative pull-ups, which is where you jump or hop off a high box to get to the top of the pull-up movement, and then you lower yourself down as slowly as you can. Today I was doing some holds at the top for about 3 to 5 seconds. I genuinely thought I was counting to 5 seconds, but it looks a lot more like a couple of seconds when I'm watching it back. It is a really hard exercise, and then I lowered myself down very slowly for about 5 seconds. Negatives are one of the best ways to progress with pull-ups or any bodyweight movement, to be honest, and they are my favorite. If you haven't watched my video on how to get your first pull-up, then make sure you do. I go into a lot more detail on progression exercises in that video. After my pull-ups, I do a few sets of push-ups. Again, I'm kind of embarrassed to admit and show how weak I've gotten, but There you go, it's all part of the journey, and that is life. Again, I am doing some progression exercises for my push-ups. So I started off by doing some negatives, which really helped me when I first couldn't do a push-up, and then I am doing some kneeling push-ups. My next exercise is lat pull downs. Now, something really important to mention is to do your warm-up sets. So with most exercises, especially compound exercises or your big heavy lifts, you have to do at least 1 or 2 warm-up sets first. So before you go in with your working weight, do a couple of sets of maybe 8 to 10 reps at a much lighter weight. This just helps to grease the groove, make sure that everything's feeling the way it should, prepare your mind and body for the lift, and to make sure that you're in the right headspace to really give the exercise your all. A really great tip for lat pull downs to make sure that you are engaging your lats is to pull your shoulders down and back before you start the movement. So try and imagine as if you are tucking your shoulder blades into your back pockets. That's a really good cue that always helps me to engage my lats in preparation for this exercise. Now guys, please don't be afraid to make faces at the gym. It just means that you're working hard. We are at the gym for a reason, to work hard and for ourselves. So don't be afraid to make those silly faces. It's all just part of the process. The next exercise is rope face pulls. I love this exercise. Set the cable machine to sort of an upper chest height. Grab the rope with an overhand / neutral grip and take a few steps back to create some tension. Then pull the rope towards your face, flaring your elbows high and wide while squeezing your rear delts and upper back, and then slowly return to the starting position, nice and controlled. One really good cue for this is to imagine that you are squeezing a penny in between your shoulder blades when you're at that top range of motion. The next exercise is the rope tricep push down. Stand with a slight forward lean and your knees bent, and then pinning your elbows securely to your sides, push the rope down, extending your arms fully while separating the handles at the bottom, and then slowly return to a 90-degree angle. Remember to keep your back straight, core tight, and avoid using body weight to swing the weight. As it's the exact same setup for the face pulls and the tricep push down, I did these exercises as a superset, which means performing them both back to back with little to no rest in between. This reduces workout time and increases intensity. Our last exercise of the day is lateral raises. Stand with feet shoulder width apart and holding fairly light dumbbells with a slight bend in your elbows. Raise the weights out to the side until your arms are parallel with the floor. Try and focus on leading with your elbows and keeping your shoulders down. Use a light weight, control the motion, and make sure to avoid any swinging. Again, because this is the last exercise, I like to do it sort of drop set style. So first I do as many reps as I can with the 6s, and then I drop those and go straight into as many reps as I can with the 4s. I finished off the session with some core. Today's choice of core exercise was leg raises. I usually just like to set a timer for 5 minutes and then try to complete 50 reps in that time, resting when needed. Now with this exercise, it's really important to keep the upper body still and raise your legs to 90 degrees or higher. Really try to avoid using momentum by making sure that the movement is controlled and slow. And then before you know it, it is Wednesday. We are officially halfway through the week. Wednesday is my active rest day or / my cardio / mobility day. First things first, I take my creatine. I've been taking this every single day since the beginning of this year, and it has been amazing. Creatine is so good. It helps you increase your strength, increases your lean muscle mass. It helps with better exercise performance and even enhanced cognitive function. If you are not taking creatine already, I highly recommend. So I start off my Wednesday morning session with, of course, you guessed it, backwards incline walking. I do about 10 minutes of this today just because I have more time for it, and then I go ahead and do about 20 minutes of just normal incline walking, just for a little bit of cardio. I do usually like to run on a Wednesday, but my knee has just been acting up over this past week, so I decided to give that a break and just do some gentle cardio instead. I do still love incline walking, so that was great. And then I headed over to the mats for some stretching time. Honestly guys, this is one of my favorite things to do. Sometimes all I want to do is just put on some good music, stretch my body, and really use this time to connect with my body and see how everything feels. I literally just forget where I am and it feels so good. I could stretch for like 40 minutes plus. But anyway, on this day I think I stretched for about 20 minutes. As I mentioned earlier, I am currently working towards the goal of getting my splits. I have always felt like the most inflexible person, so seeing myself progress with my flexibility ever since I started this splits journey has been so nice and so motivating, but I've also noticed improvements not just in my flexibility but in my mobility, in how strong I've been in my lifts, and honestly I think it's helped a lot with my lower back pain as well. On this day I wasn't feeling that great. I think I must have still been a bit sore from leg day, so I didn't actually attempt the splits at the end like I usually do, but I do have a nice little routine that takes me between 15 to 20 minutes. I have been doing that regularly for a few months now, and I've seen so much progress in my splits since doing it. If you want to follow along with my splits journey, by the way, you can check it out on TikTok. I have been documenting all on there, and you can also follow me on Instagram if you aren't already. And just like that, the time has come for another leg day, our second leg day of the week. It is also a heavily glute focused leg day with a little bit of calves in there. This leg day always leaves me with my glutes feeling so sore, like without fail. I'm not even joking. And it's such a nice cute little workout with only 4 exercises. After I've warmed up with my backwards incline walking, I go ahead and do my full warm-up routine for leg day, making sure that everything is nice and warm and loose and activated. Our first exercise is the Bulgarian split squat. I fear I have perfected the glute biased Bulgarian split squat. Start by finding a box or a bench that is roughly knee height. I personally find that if you use something that's not as high, you tend to have more control and you're less likely to lose your balance. So if you find that balance is an issue, maybe try using something that's a bit lower. Elevate your back non-working leg on the box. Remember that it is just there for balance. Then while keeping your front foot flat, lean forward slightly and lower yourself down until your back knee almost touches the floor. Most of your weight should be pushing through your working front leg, and really try to focus on pushing up using your glute through mind-muscle connection. Mind-muscle connection is such a useful tool and will make a huge difference to your progress once you are able to figure it out. It's the conscious, intentional focus on contracting and feeling a specific target muscle during the exercise, rather than just simply moving the weight. By maximizing this neural engagement, it actually improves muscle fiber recruitment and enhances growth and improves form. So you are much more likely to grow that muscle if you have really good mind-muscle connection. Also guys, quick reminder, please make sure that you are resting enough between sets for single leg exercises. So for example, for these Bulgarian split squats, after I had done one leg, I rested for probably about 30 seconds, took some big deep breaths before moving on to the other leg. If you just go straight into it, you usually will probably be too tired out from the first leg to be able to perform the other leg well. On my very last set, I just quickly followed it with some body weight reps. I like to do this at the end of an exercise just to really burn out the muscle. This exercise is so brutal, but it's so good. If you try this workout and you're struggling to walk the next day, I'm sorry. Our next exercise is glute hyperextension. Position the pad just below your hip crease, and then I like to turn my toes slightly outwards, round your upper back to isolate the glutes. Lower slowly and then squeeze your glutes hard to lift your torso until your body is in a straight line. Try your best to avoid excessive lower back arching. My top tip for this exercise is to sort of imagine thrusting your hips into the pad as you would for a hip thrust. Our next exercise is a glute biased leg press. So sit with your back and hips firmly against the pad. Now to make the leg press glute biased, make sure that your feet are a narrow width apart and quite high on the machine. Make sure to always engage your core and lower the weight slowly until your knees are about a 90-degree angle without letting your glutes lift off the seat, and then press up through your heels, making sure not to lock your knees. This workout is proof that you don't need a lot of movement in order to get a good workout in and in order to see progress. If you train with enough intensity and intention, you will definitely see progress and growth. Our last exercise of the day is calf raises. Stand with your feet about hip width apart and raise yourself onto the balls of your feet while keeping your legs straight, squeezing at the top. At the bottom of the movement, I like to really lower myself down and feel that full stretch in my calves before pushing back up. Make sure to maintain control throughout and avoid bouncing at the bottom and using momentum. And then finally, it's Friday. Friday is quite a fun day at the moment for me. It's like a full body mobility day. I get a little bit of cardio in, then I do my full body stretch and work on my splits, and then I do a few exercises to target and strengthen my knees, hips, lower back, all of that fun stuff. So for the last time this week, we do our backwards incline walk, and then I do some normal walking too, just to get my steps in and get my body warm. After that, I head over to the mat and do my stretch routine. You guys are probably tired of seeing this stretch routine, but if you do want me to go into detail about it or anything else that I've mentioned in this video, let me know in the comments. I also use this time to do a little bit of foam rolling. I love foam rolling. It helps to improve your muscle flexibility, increase your range of motion, and also accelerates recovery by reducing DOMS, which is the muscle soreness that you get after working out. I found that the best way to do my little strengthening mobility exercises is sort of in a circuit form. So I do these 5 exercises back to back with very little rest between them, and then I will rest for about a couple minutes and then do another round. I typically do 2 rounds, but if I have more time, I could do 3. The very first exercise I do is these step downs. This exercise is really good for improving your knee stability, strengthening your quads, and just helping with knee pain overall. Start by standing on a low box or step and allow one of your feet to hang off over the edge. Then slowly bend the knee of the supporting leg, allowing the hovering foot to lightly tap the floor. I'm really trying to control the eccentric portion of the movement and go nice and slow. After that, I go straight into some tib raises by standing against the wall and lifting my toes up to the sky. You should really start to feel this in your shins after a good few reps. Then I do some hip flexor marches using these little resistance bands, but you can also use kettlebells for some resistance. Lift your knees up to hip height, about 90 degrees, while standing, focusing on engaging your core and keeping your pelvis and hips stable and maintain a neutral spine. I follow that with some hip flexor compressions, which is also another active strengthening exercise designed to improve hip flexor strength. I sit on the floor with my legs straight out in front of me and sitting as tall as possible with my spine extended. I lock my knees and point my toes. I lift one leg off the floor, focusing on lifting from the hip crease. Now this last exercise is so much harder than it looks. It's called the Copenhagen plank, and it's sort of like a side plank that targets the core and the adductors. You're supposed to rest one leg on top of a bench or a box while holding the body in a straight line, but I attempted it with a straight leg to begin with, and I literally couldn't do it for longer than 3 seconds. So then the alternative progression is to do it with a bent leg, which felt a lot more doable. I managed about 30 seconds on each side, but this exercise is still a killer. My goal is to be able to do it for maybe 45 to 60 seconds, hopefully one day. And that is my full week of workouts, guys. I hope you enjoyed. I hope you found something useful in there. If you have any questions at all about anything, then please do let me know in the comments below and I'll be more than happy to chat. I would also love to know what your workout split is, so please comment below what your workout split is. Also, just wanted to touch on the fact that training, of course, isn't the only thing that I'm doing. Outside of training, I am eating in a calorie maintenance and paying close attention to my nutrition, making sure that it's very healthy, balanced, high protein and high fiber. I'm also taking creatine every single day, and I am walking about 8 to 10k steps a day, as well as drinking 2 to 3 liters of water a day, getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep. And yeah, that is pretty much everything I'm doing to reach my fitness goals at the moment. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, then make sure to subscribe to see more of my videos, and I will see you guys in the next video. Bye.